Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of JKL Media Reviews. And I am your host this week as I picked the subject. And I am joined by my two best friends, Jesse. Hi, Jesse.
Hello, Karen. You are my dear friend too, as what? Dear friend as well.
Awesome. And Lou. Hi, Lou.
Hello, everyone.
I'm not your dear friend as
Oh,
well.
you are. I think
Okay.
that goes without saying
Okay,
for
that
both of
works.
you. So no one feels left out. And the listeners are too.
That's
Yes,
right.
we love our listeners.
We do. This week, we are going to talk about the movie Moon by Duncan Jones and starring Sam Rockwell. This is a favorite of mine. My husband and I have talked about it often in relation to other movies. And the week that I chose this, I don't remember exactly because it wasn't during the recording, but there was something that connected, like a rabbit hole that connected us to Moon. And I said, let's watch that because I really like the movie. It's science fiction. It has a lot of philosophical connotations. And I hope you guys enjoy this. And I want to say right up front, there's going to be spoilers. If you don't want to hear spoilers for the movie Moon, tune out now and come back after you watch it. All right. So I'm gonna say a few things about the movie and then I'm gonna ask you guys some questions if that's all right with you.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. A quick summary, which is difficult, but a quick summary is Sam Bell is harvesting helium on the moon for a company called Lunar, and a series of events happen that inform him about his true origins. And there's a lot of things that occur with that. He meets himself essentially, and they discover what is truly happening in the company outposts there on the moon. And that's again just a brief overview, but I want to go around and I want to ask what your impressions were. Lou, you've already seen it, so let's start with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I'm surprised that this is only from 2009. It has a much older feel to it.
Mm,
And I mentally equate in my mind another much older movie from 1972, Silent Running with Bruce Dern.
yeah.
So this is a very low budget movie, but what it does with what it has, it does a very excellent job. And this is pre-CGI because everything in this movie is practical. And I thought the practical effects were really well done, especially the lunar rover segments were really done well. And maybe they were life size, but I don't think so. And it's a powerhouse performance from Sam Rockwell. And for its time, the whole implications of cloning was relatively new. I think it's become blasé today, but back then that whole idea of cloning was a is a big deal, and the implications of what happens to these clones in this movie was quite it still is quite touching, and largely due in part to Sam Rockwell's performance, who of course I'm a big fan of his. I loved his acting in the Three Billboards from Ebbing, Missouri. Of course, he's got a great role in The Green Mile as Billy. And yeah, he seems almost ageless. He looks the same today as he did back then.
Yep, I agree. How about you, Jesse? You had never seen the movie.
I had never seen the movie and really loved it. I did not feel like it was on a low budget. I felt like it was really well done. There's a couple specific things that when we start talking about, I want to mention, but I was very touched by the performance and a little bit angry at the corporation, but also was impressed by how they tried to do a bad thing in the best way possible. I do agree that, and I hope everyone listened to your warning because I did not know this was about a clone.
Mm,
I bought the when he after the accident he wakes up And I
Mm.
go, and I had a little bit of, God, I wonder how he got back. And it wasn't until afterwards. And it just was a really well done movie. I very much loved it and was, wow, I hate that I missed this one. And that's just the way things is. There's so much new stuff out and there's so much available that you are going to miss something.
Sure.
And what is lovely is when you find it, it's new to you and you go, wow, this is a nice little treat.
This could easily have been a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah, and I always think of Sam on Galaxy Quest. I just
Same.
watched the making of, they had a documentary a few years ago on making of Galaxy Quest, and he's really funny talking about the film, and he's great in that role. And it's just funny because in the movie Galaxy Quest, he's this unknown actor that never
Guy.
had any success.
He's a
And
red shirt, essentially, right?
yes,
Yeah.
and in real life, he's an actor that had not done anything since. And to think that now then he's this amazing actor that's in so many great roles. He was in that. He was the leading man in a spy thriller. I can't think of the name of it, but like he ended up the female lead had amnesia, which is an often plot, but yeah, he's really good and I really loved spending time with him in this. Both versions of him.
Same. Yeah, I love all your takes on it, but I do want to follow up a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, how did you feel when you realized he wasn't like the original Sam? How did you feel?
So my first question was, wow, how many previous Sams have there been? We don't know. And how does this end? I'll jump ahead. Because it's because of the situation, I'm thinking, okay, this is going to go poorly. This is going to turn into something really ugly. And with Kevin Spacey voicing the computer, okay, the computer is going to turn on them.
Right,
This is going to be a Hal situation. And Argyle was the film that I was thinking of.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, Argyle, yeah.
Yeah, with Bryce Dallas Howard. And it wasn't. Yes, the two argued, the two Sams fought, but actually the newer Sam ended up being very kind, and the
Hmm.
older Sam was kind as well. So
Yeah, it could have ended as a tragedy.
yes.
And I think it really does have quite a hopeful ending.
Yeah, and I would have selfishly, I know as a filmmaker, that's the right way to end it with just the overview, but I wanted to see that. I would have
Right,
loved to seen even just a clip of him testifying in front of Congress or
right.
in
Little
the
snippets. Yeah,
yeah, and then the right wing or the right wing talk show host talking about he's some kind of evil person or an illegal. Yeah, I
Well,
absolutely
I,
adored the
I
story.
haven't seen this, but and I wasn't even aware of it until I was at the wiki page, Jesse. But there is a
Yeah,
follow-up movie called Mute. So
yes.
maybe you would get your
well,
wish.
a spiritual
Yeah,
Oh, spiritual?
successor
yeah,
to it.
there
Oh,
was
okay.
not.
Oh, they say that as in it's not a direct sequel, but
Oh,
it's set in the same universe.
oh, okay.
I
Have you
will
seen it?
discuss that. I'll discuss it.
Yeah.
Okay. It was also a
So,
graphic novel.
yep,
Mhm.
as a threequel.
Yeah. I'll just to add my thoughts. For me, it's hard to
Yeah,
remember the first time I watched this
same.
movie. I think I was pretty shocked because the movie sets it up in a way that you think Sam's losing his mind
Mhm.
or
Yes.
whatnot. So the and the way the newer Sam was pretty cold and distant to the older Sam in the beginning made it even seem more likely that the original Sam, from our viewpoint, was losing his mind. But
Yes. And he was, not to interrupt, but I want that he was seeing things, right? Because he
Hmm.
saw a
Yes.
person, and I
And
assume,
I
some
think he
of
had a
those are recalled memories, I
right,
think.
yeah,
yeah,
like he had a quick glimpse when he was watching something on the video screen. I think that was a memory.
Yeah, I think so
yeah.
Um,
too.
and then, but then after that, I think what he was seeing was real. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the idea that, and I also wonder if some of that hallucination was, they build these clones to die. And so that way
I'm gonna talk about that.
oh, sorry. Oh, go
No,
ahead.
it's
Yeah.
okay. We can talk about it if
Yeah.
you.
The Blade Runner vibe there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me start with my first question, if that's okay.
Sure.
Do you think Gertie has sentience? I'll start with whoever. Doesn't matter.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Now that I'm saying that,
There's an argument to be made
I'm
both
having second
ways,
thoughts.
right?
He does have some sort of low level sentience. Otherwise, he wouldn't allow the two current Sams to carry out their plan.
Correct.
So
He goes against
because
his
that's
programming.
compassion. That's showing
Right.
compassion, right? You could say that's his
Mm-hmm.
programming. So I would argue that there's some low form of sentience there. He's definitely built up a attachment to these Sam clones. Whether that's a sign of intelligence or sentience, maybe it's a trick of programming. Like you said, it could go either way.
Yeah.
But if you're a half glass kind of full person, I think you would say that yes, he does.
But you're undecided, essentially.
I'm saying that's open for interpretation.
Awesome. How about you, Jesse?
Yeah. My thought is that it's at least a low level of artificial intelligence, just enough because they they make the decision to let him access files,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and just purely he makes the decision.
Well, Hal
My
would have never done that.
Nope.
And also
And
the
Hal was
idea, right?
sentient.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
let's go back to Asimov's three laws of robotics. And so he says, my programming is to help you, to keep you. And so he realizes he had enough, or they had enough to Sam's mental health needs him to know this.
Right.
Therefore, it's in my thing. And to
Right.
say, as we go to the ending, I give it's saying the right thing to protect you is me to do this. And the robot, right, should protect the human even at the cost of himself. And this one, and I think that's a reason why there's only a limited amount of AI, because he didn't mind losing himself. That, yeah.
Yeah, reboot me,
Yeah. And
essentially.
and me and the new Sam will be fine. Yeah.
And I agree with you both. I think there is a very low type of sentence because I do think, and this is again me reading into things, that he was programmed to keep that knowledge from the Sams.
Yeah.
And instead of doing that, he goes against that and tells them everything. And I do agree, it also goes along with that programming as I'm programmed to help you. And there's a few things that lead me to believe there's a little bit of sentience there. The password that he gives Sam, the sacrificing his built up memory bank thing in order
Mhm.
to make sure that he doesn't give away what happened on the base. I do think there's a little bit. I think and I agree with Lou, I think it's left up to you
Yeah.
to decide. And I think that was done very well in the movie. It is a nod to Hal. And I like how it's subverted because Hal was evil,
Yeah.
essentially. And I think Gertie is benevolent. So yeah, I love that there's a philosophical point, even to the smallest details of what is the nature of their robot sidekick,
Mhm.
essentially.
Yeah, I don't want to sidetrack too much, but I do think that Hal gets a bad rep as being evil because his dilemma was he was basically created as a pure intellect or pure
Hmm.
intelligence, yet he had to keep this big secret from the crew, and that ate at his, if you want to, for lack of a better word, conscience.
Conscience,
And
yeah.
so this created a moral dilemma for him, which is why, because he had to carry out these directives, yet they were in conflict with him being honest with the crew. So there's a little more nuance to the Hal character, but I don't want to go too far afield. I just wanted to kind of
Sure.
Okay,
interject that.
interesting.
Yeah,
That's the idea we have from that movie is
yes,
And
that he
exactly.
is, yeah,
and you know what? I love the fact that you are defending the evil computer. And that
same.
tells me so much about you.
Thanks. Yeah, I can't solely take credit for it because I read like the making of 2001, and that was a big
Okay.
discussion chapter. No, I don't want to. I don't want to or take away from Karen's question, so I'll just shut up
No,
now.
that's all right. And I do want to put it, I don't want to ignore the issue that Kevin Spacey does the voice of Gertie, and watching it when I did, and then
Mhm.
watching it now, I get a different feeling because
Sure.
of his
Yeah.
reputation. But I do admit, beyond his real life personality, I think he's a great actor. And
Yeah.
there's no discounting that. I think he did a great job here
Yeah,
with
I
him.
do really like the design of Gertie and the
Me
way that
too.
it traversed through the station on those rails. And I thought that was really cool. And the little TV screen with our monitor with the happy faces on
With
it.
the happy face or the sad
Yeah.
face or the yeah.
Yeah, it's displaying various states of emotion and trying to build that and I think for the audience too, and obviously for Sam to build a sort of an emotional connection because it's not a device that you can look at like an Android and get a sort of
Right.
a human connotation to anything. So the screen with the happy faces was a nice little touch. I would have liked to have seen maybe at the certain moments where it was potentially displaying intelligence that the icons somehow could have reflected that maybe a little more, but
Yeah.
that's a minor
Hmm.
nitpick. But I
There's a
thought it was
little
a pretty cool looking device.
there's a
Yeah.
little bit there though that he gets to choose what he displays.
Yeah.
But then you could argue
So
that's
that
doodle
it's
programming.
programming,
Yeah,
right? And again, that's that kind of, do you
yeah,
think
yeah.
he's
And
choosing it?
that's to me is good art where they leave it up
Yeah.
to the
Right.
interpretation of the
I
audience.
agree. I
Yeah,
agree. And that's essentially why I asked you guys, because I like that there's a question there.
yeah.
Yeah.
And did you guys think about Kevin Spacey when you watched it? I tend to forget that sort of thing once I get into the movie. But it was a little bit like, oh, it's Kevin
I
Spacey
I
at the
totally
beginning.
forgot about him
Mm,
doing the voice. In fact, I didn't recognize his voice, so I didn't until now, until I called up the info on the movie this morning. I go,
mm.
that was Kevin Spacey. I said, oh, okay.
Yep,
So I fortunately I didn't have to deal with
that's
that
good.
conundrum.
That's great. How about you, Jesse?
Yeah. I actually fairly early in the movie connected that was his voice. And so therefore, between 2001 Space Odyssey, between his reputation and not his reputation in real life, his reputation of who he plays. And he has,
Villains,
yeah, villains. He has
essentially.
played
Yeah.
really great villains in the past that I thought that was. And I thought it was a really, since we're talking about it, really nice casting that voice. He has a great voice.
Very soothing
And
sounding.
you're gonna have that thought, oh, okay, and using that feeling of 2001 Odyssey and his voice to play against type was
Mm.
really cool.
It,
Yeah,
it subverted the fact that you thought he
yeah,
would turn against Sam's.
yeah,
I'm going to say Sam's if that's okay with you guys.
Sure.
yeah.
Okay, my next question is, do you think the Sams would be better off not knowing their origins? So let's start with you, Jesse.
Yeah. Okay, this is horrible to say, and I do not agree with this, but yes, this is the humane way to do this. Instead of, if you cannot have robots doing this job, and if you do not want to have, now I think there's a whole nother universe, and if you watch For All Mankind, you see that universe where you just set up a workstation. It's like a rig,
Mm,
offshore rig. You have You have people sitting there, and you've got a crew, and you've got a drill chief, and you've got a cook, and you could have a 6 or 7 person and rotate every 3 years. And you get paid
Right.
a ton of money to do this. And exactly what you think is happening could happen if
Sure.
you wanted. But for because they're greedy ass bastards, they're going to do this, but they're doing the wrong thing in the best way possible. There was a documentary about the Dallas Cowboys in the 90s and the White House, where they created a house. They rented a house where they could have their mistresses, they could do their drugs, they could do everything in one self-contained house, so that therefore it would be safer. They wouldn't get DWIs. They would be there. And Michael Irvin says we were trying to do the wrong thing in the right way. So I
Sure.
think they're trying to do the wrong thing in the right way. Forget the let's pretend, and we can debate whether a clone has a soul or not, but this is a humane way to teach this. You wake up, you have a sense of purpose. You have a connection with a family. You have just enough frustration to do so that the 3 years that clone has, or however long they set, they have a hard but good life, knowing that they're working for their family and they have a
Right.
reward looking ahead for them.
I
And
agree.
then I don't know if you've ever watched the Temple Grandeur HBO
Mm-hmm.
story where
Yep.
she's let's make it where the cows are it's calming for them before we slaughter them.
Yep.
So they make that the last words are, you have made the world a better place. You have given a lot to human. Rest. Well done, my good and faithful servant. Rest, and when you wake up, you will be with your family. And you go to sleep, they euthanize the clone, and rinse and repeat. It's very
Right.
sad. It's horribly despicable, but if you're going to go down this way, I think it's the humane way to teach someone inhumanely. Does that make sense?
It does. How about you, Lou?
I'm very surprised by Jesse's answer. But to me, this is slavery. No, I
Mm,
don't agree with anything that's going on this. And I think it's a horrible situation to set up a person. You may call them a clone, but they are a living being. That's where the crux of this comes down to. But at the higher level, it's slavery, pure and simple.
mm,
And the fact that they're keeping this guy isolated all by himself, no interaction with other beings, and like Jesse said, they could easily set up the base to have a regular rig crew that rotates out, but they're trying to maximize profits with the minimum cost. And so they've engaged in this form of slavery. And this living being has no control over their destiny. They're locked into this particular life and they can't get out of it. I'm totally against the how the move what's going on in this story, and there's nothing here but greed. And I we could get into like how could they set this up without nobody else on the earth finding out about it, kind of thing. And the other thing that the movie skirts around, I think maybe this is something that comes up in the sequel, or I don't know, is when the older Sam calls home and gets the daughter, she mentions at one point that somebody off screen says, "Who's there?" That somebody asking about mom. And I'm thinking to myself, is that the original Sam? And
Yes.
if he is the original Sam, he must have agreed to this, or he must have been compensated, or maybe they took his
Yes.
DNA without knowing about it. I don't know. So he is complicit
Yes.
in this scenario. So yeah, I'm totally against what's going on. And I think that withholding knowledge is never a good thing, even if it's painful to find out. Ignorance may be bliss, but it's not real life. It's an illusion. And that's what these clones are going through. They're living an illusion. And I'm totally not for what this movie is portraying.
So I want to stress, I am not for it either. What I'm saying is, given the parameters that they are greedy SOBs and that they are going to do this, this is the most humane way to do it. I totally disagree with everything they're doing and think they shouldn't do it. Yeah, but
Is
the
it
question
humane or is
was,
it just convenient?
Both.
It's convenient and humane.
Yeah.
The question wasn't should they be doing it? It's are they humane in the way they're doing it? And they absolutely should not be doing this. This is horrible.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to make sure that I am
Okay, my
officially
bad.
not in favor of, I'm picking at you. I'm
Yeah.
officially not in favor of clone slavery, just in case that comes up anywhere.
Okay.
Love you both.
Yeah, I agree. I think given what they have chosen to do, and that's a decision that they're not going to go back on, I think he's better off not knowing
Yeah.
because that is torturous, I think. But there is also a part of me that says, but it would be nice for him to understand that he's a clone as well, that he's there to do a job. Although I don't think they'd get as much productivity out of him. And I
No.
think that's ultimately their goal. I'm reading into this that they're saving money by not doing trips back and forth. And that's the main reason they have chosen to do it this way.
How many people could survive 3 years on their own? Is that maybe that's why they chose this particular
Right.
character?
Yeah.
Right.
And there's an interesting dynamic there too, because the newer Sam mentions that he has anger issues. So that there's an element of that too. Like, why are they picking this
Why
particular?
him?
Right.
Right.
Like he's good on maybe good on his own, but he also has anger issues. So
Yeah.
But if he's on his own, where are those going to manifest, really?
yeah.
So,
And he also, as they manipulate him with his fake AI messages to his wife, he gets the satisfaction of I've gotten to work on this. I've had my therapy. I'm going to be a better person when I get back home. And yes, from my perspective, they absolutely paid the original Sam because he had a skill set, an education, whatever they needed for him to do this. And this was in their mind, which is despicable, want to stress that this is better because we're not risking a real person. We are not making a real person go through this. We're in it. If you determine a clone is not a real person and has no soul, we're just using a tool. I disagree.
I
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah, we can always talk in generalities, essentially, because this movie it's very nebulous as far as certain things go. And one of the things that I decided to do is pick on these story points that can be seen from either side. And also, they have to be taken in context
Yeah.
within the movie. I agree. I think it is slavery. I think it is terrible that this is the worst thing that they could have done in these circumstances.
This is
But
the worst kind of slavery.
yes.
Yeah. And
Um,
how horrible that when the repair crew comes and they just truly do treat the Sam as a
Piece of
not
property.
even property and not even a beloved animal. Yeah.
yeah, he's not a living thing to them. When they actually say he's not getting out of there, they can see that he's still breathing,
Yeah.
but they're like, let's just leave him in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it shows how they treat these Sams.
Yeah.
And also, I hate to say it, but in real life, I could see this happening. The way the culture is with corporations, it doesn't really value lower level employees. Just take Amazon, for example. Their drivers are treated very poorly, and I would say bordering on slavery, maybe. They don't get paid very much. They have to meet a quota every day. They're not allowed to really take breaks, so they've been defecating in bags in their trucks. It's just, it's demoralizing the way they're treated. And this isn't a huge step from that, honestly. And this was, again, in 2009 when it wasn't really stressed how poorly people were treated. and how well the upper management was treated, essentially.
Yeah.
You don't do anything, you retire, and you get billions, millions of dollars to do that. And
I don't know what the telescope guy got when he had to resign, but yes, there are tons and tons of stories of people that were incompetent CEOs, but because of their golden parachute, walk
yep.
away with millions of dollars.
I
Yes.
love that they can have to resign in disgrace and they still get millions
Yeah.
to leave the company. And that's the deal. That's how corp capitalism has built up.
Yes.
And I could see, like I said, I could see this happening.
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to ask, have you seen Mute, which is the quote unquote sequel to this movie? But you've already answered, neither of you have seen it. I also have not seen it, but I do know what happens in regards to Moon in that
Oh,
movie.
please
Uh,
share.
you guys don't care if I share?
No, I don't care.
Mute is a horrible movie,
Okay.
apparently. Although I'm probably going to watch it because it has Paul Rudd in it. And I love Paul Rudd so
Alexander
much.
Skarsgård, Paul Rudd,
Yep.
Justin Theroux, Robert Sheen,
Right.
Noah
It
Hart,
sounds like it would be a good movie.
Dominic Monaghan. Wow.
Yep. But it is not, apparently. It's a terrible movie. That's the overwhelming response to it, is that it's not good. And I
Okay.
hate that because I love Duncan Jones. I love the co-writer of Moon. I really do love everything about it. And it's sad that this movie wasn't a good follow-up to that.
Mhm.
So, in regards to Moon, Sam Rockwell makes a cameo in Mute where it shows him the fallout from what happens with him testifying, but it's a background story. So it's honestly, it's a plot point that's just used to show that this is the same universe
Okay.
and to show that companies and how things work in that world are the same. So it's really just a tiny little part of that movie, but it does do a follow-up. You might want to watch it just for that, just to see what happened to him after this movie, at least in that universe. And the follow-up question to that is, since you haven't seen it, what do you think happened when he got back to Earth? It does mention he's been testifying, and right-wing hosts have been saying, "Oh, he's a paid actor." And
Yeah.
we've seen that in real life again. But what do you really think happened? Do you think that he changes anything? How about you,
Luke.
Lou?
Yeah. Luke.
I would hope so. As an optimist, I would hope that they would change this whole setup that they've got going with these clones and force them corporates to actually send like a real crew to mine the helium-3 as opposed to this cloning. And I don't know on Earth there's of this period if there is cloning going on or not, that but they would probably have to also enact some sort of cloning laws or whatever, like immigration rights to how cloning is supposed to be handled.
How about you, Jesse?
Absolutely nothing changes.
I
Uh,
thought as well, as an
because
optimist like Lou, I would
yeah,
hope so,
yeah,
but
me too. But I think it is the world wants cheap energy, and they don't. We want our cheeseburgers and we want our chicken nuggets. So therefore, we don't care about factory farming or all the things that are happening or cruelty to animals because we don't want to be vegetarians or vegan. We know that there's global warming, and when I bought a new car this year, I did not get a hybrid. I got a regular car.
because it
Uh,
costs more.
it costs more, and
Yep.
so I don't want to be inconvenienced. And so therefore I sometimes don't do the right thing. I try to do
Hmm.
the right things always. So I would think that it's it just seems it's a sad situation, but I just don't think people will care. And they will not believe them. They'll call it fake news. I wish we could do away with fake news. I wish we could
Hmm.
get rid
The
of
term
that,
fake
yeah,
news.
that
Yeah.
concept because
And
now
woke.
then, and
And
woke, yeah,
woke. Yeah.
it is now become a force field that if you say something I don't agree with, it's fake news. And it doesn't matter how much proof. I fight the good fight on Facebook all the time about posting data, and it just is, they don't care that it's a,
Whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
And if you have any progressive views, right or wrong, you're woke,
Yes, exactly.
which it stops the discussion right there.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
I tend to agree with you, Jesse. And I think 10 years ago, I might not have.
Yeah.
I had a lot of optimism 10 years ago, but now people voted for
It always
A
comes
criminal.
back to him, doesn't it? Yeah, they vote
yeah,
for a convicted felon
felon. Right.
where they're
In order to
actually,
keep their money in their
yeah,
pockets.
it actually is some states where as a felon you can't vote, and we voted for convicted.
Yep.
And these same people will talk about the legal system and why don't we do this, but it goes back to we pick we pick the facts we want to believe.
We, not us in
Yeah.
particular,
Yeah,
but
but as a
we. Yeah, he said a lot about tariffs and I'm going to keep prices down. I'm going to lower
yeah,
grocery prices. And apparently
yeah.
that's what people believed. If you have a brain in your head, I hate to say this because I'm going to be offending people, but if you have half a
But
brain in your
remember, no
head,
one's watching, so we're okay.
okay. If you have half a brain in your head, there are a lot of facts that were already
Yeah,
apparent that tariffs wouldn't have done that.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
When
Bringing
I
it
again,
back to the
fake news.
movie, I would
Yeah,
say that our conversation of the last 5-10 minutes is a reflection of how good this movie is
Mm,
because it's a springboard to these types of discussions that most movies don't aspire to anymore. This is a simple, quiet movie, really, overall.
yeah,
And it doesn't follow the Hollywood blockbuster formula at all. Yet, and it doesn't come out and blatantly hit you in the face with its issues. They're just there in the movie for you to discuss like we are afterwards.
yeah.
It's just part of the fabric of the story. So there's no preaching. It's there for you to take it or leave it. And
yep.
so that to me is always the mark of a good piece of art, and that
Mm,
definitely is what this Moon movie has done. And I think I appreciate it more now than when I watched it the first time.
yep, I
And,
agree.
and one of the things I think is amazing, if you think about it, this is basically Sam Rockwell is playing against himself, right?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
he doing this part. So the acting he's had to do against him with having to play both sides of the conversation. And I'm sure it helps the amount of makeup that the older Sam, the original Sam in this movie, is injured and dying. But I think just a wonderful acting role, just because basically, if you take away at the end of the movie where the repair guys come, and then the really lovely performance from the woman who played his wife, it's him
Right.
against a
Mm-hmm.
green screen and the
I don't even know
the
if they
kind of
had green
robot.
screen back then. I
Yeah,
think what's really amazing with this movie is the directing because there's a lots of scenes where Sam is both Sams are in the same shot. And I assume
yeah,
that they did it the old fashioned way where they put tape over half the camera lens,
hmm,
filmed half the scene, and then they came back and rewound the
yeah,
film and filmed the other half.
yeah,
And they did really clever edits where you always felt like the two were in the room, but there's lots of times that I was noticing as the movie went on, there was only a shot of one of the Sams, and it would cut to the other Sam, and then they would do a wider shot showing both of them. It was really well directed, and it didn't feel fake in any way when the two Sams were in the room together.
no, it did not at all. I
Yeah, and
agree.
I didn't actually look up any of the production, which I should have done.
Hmm,
But I was going to mention in the ping pong scene, you think to
hmm,
yourself, oh, it's just one of those like Freaky Friday
Yeah, yeah.
halfway.
The net is the halfway mark of the shot. Yeah,
But he crosses over that net to fix
yeah,
it.
he does. And I
And
yeah,
think they did that on purpose.
yeah, I think so too. I think that was a thing to say, ha, we're not going to do that.
Yeah,
And I'm not sure how much of that was CGI and how much was practical. They could have, and I watch Corridor Crew. I know I've mentioned it before, but they talk about CGI and the use of it in this kind of thing. And the most popular way to do it is to have that double there, film it
Hmm.
practically as a real shot, not cutting it down the middle, and then superimposing Sam Rockwell's face onto it because he's already done that part too. So they record the scene from both sides with a double in that other spot, and then they take Sam's performance from the other shot and superimpose it on that. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I don't know how they did it. And I will have to look it up.
Yeah,
I
I'm
just
looking at
thought
the
it was
wiki notes,
brilliant.
and they don't really go into
No,
details,
they don't. They don't.
unfortunately.
I will
But
have to look it up though.
yeah, they do mention though that for the mute sequel, that in the film, on a TV broadcast of a court trial, Sam Bell and several of his clones are all seen in the courtroom identifying themselves in a "I am Spartacus" illusion.
Awesome.
So that's
That's
cool.
cool.
Okay.
See,
Yeah.
that's a movie I think people wanted to see, not whatever the rest of the
Right.
story is about.
Yeah.
The rest of the story has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
And it sounds really complicated and
Yeah.
probably too much.
When he sees his adult daughter,
Mm,
my heart broke for him.
Yeah,
same,
and then finding out that
same.
Tess was dead for a
Yeah.
while. Yeah.
And confirming that he's not the real Sam. I
Yeah.
think that was the point where he
Yeah.
was like, okay, I get it. That's the
Yeah.
real Sam. Yeah, that was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I will say, since we were talking about it, this had a $5 million budget. And over the course of time, it has made that back and doubled itself. It's almost $10 million worldwide. So it was a success. It's become kind of a cult classic. They minimized cost by filming it in a studio, Shepperton in London. It's actually been nominated for a few awards, citing it as a UK-based production, which I think is cool. And they used, I don't know if you guys ever watched Red Dwarf. I think we've talked
Familiar
about it
with it, yeah.
before that, yeah, they've
Yeah.
used a lot, they reused a lot of their sets.
Smart. Yeah,
in
I
order,
see
yeah.
that it won the 2010 Hugo Award for the best dramatic presentation, and
Yep.
so
Ooh, I could see that.
that's
Yeah.
pretty good.
And they were nominated for a lot of things. They won several. And I think it's a crime that Sam Rockwell didn't really get a lot of accolades
Yeah.
for this.
But not
But I
typically
do
for this
think
type of sort of movie.
it's too quiet of a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Even
I
Benedict
am,
Wong's in this movie. I was like,
Mhm.
what, really? Okay.
Yeah.
yep, I do think that in order to get that acclaim, he's gone on to bigger and better things, which I think was a springboard from this. Actors
Who
and
talking about Sam Rockwell?
yes,
Yeah, okay.
I think
Yeah.
that producers, directors saw his acting in this and cast him in other things.
For sure. It's a powerhouse performance, for sure.
It
Yeah,
is.
it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he has won an Oscar since then for Ebbing. And I think that
Have you both seen that movie?
I haven't. I should.
Oh, Karen, you gotta watch it. He has a really good story arc in it.
Does he?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll
I
watch
don't think
that.
I've watched it either.
Oh, really? Wow.
What is it? 13 Billboards. It
Yeah.
won an Oscar, right, for Best Picture, or it was
Yeah.
nominated?
I
Or
think, what's her name? Frances.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
McDormand?
I've watched Billboards. Yes, I thought
Okay.
yes. Yeah, you said Ebbing and I didn't think of it.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I've seen that and I absolutely adored. It's a really good movie. It's really
Yeah.
well done. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have more questions, Karen?
I have more,
Okay.
but
Go
we're
for it.
close.
Okay.
So my main thing, and we have talked about whether lunar tech is evil. That was my last question. But in between, I said, with communication restored, what will the Moon Sam do? Sam 3, as it were. What do you think he'll do? I'll start with you, Jesse.
So that's why I would love to know what happened next. You would think he would try to call us home.
Right.
Eventually,
Just like, yeah, and then this would happen. And
Mhm.
so the question is, are they going to be able to tell that it's down faster than he calls them?
Right.
Will Gertie stop him from trying to do that? Because that's what the home office is trying to tell
Now,
him.
it is mechanically down.
Yeah.
That jammer was destroyed
Yes.
physically. So I
Yes.
would think that they wouldn't have that ability to
Right.
block it again right away, which
No,
I
I
love.
mean, they would not let Sam go outside. Yeah.
How about you, Lou?
Yeah, I think that what Jesse said is what happened. The new Sam, would eventually try to contact this family directly, and that would precipitate, even if the company, what's the
Yeah.
Luna.
Lunar Industries, knew that transmitter was down, jammer was down, it would still take them time to assemble the parts and a crew to come out there and fix it. Of course, on the flip
Mhm.
side, they would just tell the Earth Sam not to respond to those messages anymore, and then once they got there, they would just kill
Yeah.
that clone and replace him with
Yep.
a new one. So
Yeah.
In
it,
real life, they
yeah,
would. Yeah.
Yeah.
it,
That
it
is what they're going to do. Yeah.
yeah. So there's the glimmer of hope that something could come of it, but unfortunately, I think it would end up being a closed loop pretty quickly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
relatively
I do
quickly.
think it gives you that sense of hope,
Yes.
which I love.
Yeah.
I really do love that a lot of science fiction movies end in a very dark way.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I think having this be like a happily ever after ending that makes you feel uplifted, I think that they really did an amazing thing with this movie. It's a science fiction movie, but it's also a character study.
Yeah.
It's a philosophically sparking debate
Hmm.
kind of movie. I'm not saying that well. It's an eminently discussable movie, and it's also just a human story underneath
Yeah.
everything. And, that's not the case with all science fiction, fantasy.
Yeah.
A lot of times hey, it's not the real world, so we're not going to do things that really apply to
Hmm.
you. And in this case, I think we really do identify with the characters, and sometimes you are detached. And in this case, I
Hmm.
love how invested you can be
Yeah.
in the movie. So that was my last question, plot point question. But I want to ask you guys, do you have other thoughts? And I'll start with you, Lou.
I'm wondering, is the 3-year contract, is that the life cycle of these clones?
That's what I assumed because they did
Because
show that his tooth fell out, that
yeah,
he's
yeah.
hallucinating.
Because
Hmm.
it's odd that the newer Sam never seemed to clue into that fact. At least that's the impression I was left with. He didn't think that he had a time limit on himself. I found that, again, whether that was deliberately done or unintentionally, because you could say it's whatever, maybe they're feeding him something while he's on the moon base that is causing him to terminate after 3 years. It could be the cloning technology. But if it's something that they're doing to him, then the other Sam that's escaping could potentially live beyond the
A
3-year
life,
limit.
Yeah.
And then what's the legal implications of that if the real Sam's in the world? so
right?
Yeah.
so again, this is great. That's so great about this movie. But that was the main thing that was bothering me, or that I wanted clarified. And I do like the way that the movie closes the loop with the older Sam in the crashed rover watching the newer Sam taking off. Again,
Yeah.
it's that nice little bit of hopefulness
Yeah.
in the movie. And I just wonder how many Sams there were, because it seems like he played a lot of logs. And if they're each a 3-year contract,
Yeah.
then the teenage girl should be older than a teenager. So there
She
was
was a
that as well.
baby, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
she was
She had not been
born.
But
born
don't you
or
think they showed more than
yeah.
4?
Yeah, I'm thinking there was a date down at the bottom, but it flashed very quickly. And I'm thinking probably 12 to 15 years that the thing
Yeah.
went on. And it did only show three of them being
Incinerated.
cremated.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it's a fairly new thing that they've done. And again, like a lot of dystopian movies, it shows a very far away future. And I think that they're showing this as something that we might see in our lifetime,
Yeah,
this
it's like,
kind of
because it
thing.
says in the storyline that it happened after the oil crisis, which was
Yep.
in the 70s,
Yeah.
the last one. So
The
And
one we're continuing going through.
our climate is deteriorating and it's a real life thing. How
the
about
other,
you, Jesse? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lou.
okay, the other thing that I really liked is, because the setup of the new Sam clones is that they've had an accident that they don't remember.
Hmm.
In this movie, he really does have an accident,
Yeah.
doesn't remember what
Yeah,
happened. So I thought that was
right.
pretty cool.
The other thing I thought, is he the first Sam to have an accident or have some kind of death? And that so they have to bring one out, and that could explain why there's more and she's only 15. or so. But yeah, I do think it's a little my mind starts working on the math. Okay, the new clone wakes up and Gertie says, "You had an accident, Sam." Does Sam think that he had an accident right at the very beginning of his 3-year shift? And
Right?
that why, or does he think he's got 2.5 years left? Yeah.
Or when he landed, maybe his shift begins, he
Yeah,
landed roughly,
exactly.
or yeah,
Yeah. And
because
so
that's the protocol, right?
yeah. So yeah, I think this is really well done. It's absolutely heartbreaking in so many ways that, and there is those sweet moments where he does get to mourn. There's that great line in Castaway where the Tom Hanks character says, you were there for me when I was in the island. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter that you weren't here for me in real life." And so his wife was there for him when he needed. At the end, he was able to mourn her and see his adult child. And then in one of his last thoughts is seeing the new Sam go to Earth. Is that going? And then I think also to show what a good person Sam is, the Sam before he leaves for Earth, he programs the thing to destroy that so that the
Yep.
next guy has a chance. I
Mhm.
can't promise that you'll know everything, but at least I've given you a hope, a chance
Yep.
for hope. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, there's that underlying, hey, I might not make it to the ship to get off, but I have to do this.
Yeah.
And you understand that Sam as a whole, no
Yeah.
matter which incarnation it is a good person underneath everything.
Yes.
Even though he's cranky and he has anger issues and all that stuff. I do love that there is a huge difference between the two Sams that are in the main movie. Because I do think that gives you the implication that they do have a quote unquote soul and that sort of thing.
Yeah, they're not
Um,
carbon copies of one another.
and again, that's implying to me that they're people.
Yeah.
And I also want to add, I meant to say this earlier, the bases were called Sarang,
Hmm.
each
Hmm.
base and all that. Sarang Che is a, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that. In Korea, it's like a man cave, and men go there to do man things. And I think it's cool to do that because there weren't really any females in the movie except his wife and daughter.
Yeah.
But it's the men getting together and doing stuff. And I think it was deliberate to use that word for one thing. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but the number one is very prevalent in this movie. They do show the number two sometimes, but every time he goes somewhere, there's a big number one on things. And also, it ties back to they're in base number two for the movie.
Hmm.
Base number one is dark
Yeah.
when old Sam goes out there. And it makes me wonder, hey, did they do something before the Sams to try and as an experiment that maybe failed?
Hmm.
And again, there's little things like that are planted in the movie. I don't know if that's deliberate or not, but they definitely use the number one and the number two. I think that's deliberate. I don't know exactly what they're going for with that, but
Hmm.
it's pretty apparent. The numbers are huge on
Yeah.
everything. And they are still in bay number one. If you notice when they go down to find the clones,
Yeah.
in the secret room, there are still clones in section one.
Yeah.
And so, again, I think it's telling us this is not something that has been going on for a very long time, that maybe there's been 4 or 5 Sams
Hmm.
tops. And it's just another thing that lends to the fact that, hey, this could be being researched right now.
Yeah.
Uh, it really gives us that sense of very near future type of thing. Were you going to say something, Lou?
No, I was just thinking the only thing I wish they had could have managed to pull off maybe a bit more was the I wanted the dying Sam to have a tears in the rain moment in Blade Runner.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, but other than that, yeah,
Yeah.
it's I really enjoyed this much more watching it the second time than I remembered the first time.
Yeah. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm really glad. And I'm happy I picked it. I honestly can't remember what led to it, but this is definitely, I'm not going to say top five. It's not one of my top five movies, but it's up there. I could watch it again. It doesn't really get terribly old if you like it, and
Hmm.
you're never going to stop liking it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, all the technology does not seem dated at all. So there's none of that. You have to take it with a grain of salt as you're watching it. The vibe that you have to do sometimes. It seems very,
sure,
very current still. So
same.
yeah.
Yeah, it seems totally believable, set in the real world. I really dig this movie. Duncan Jones, as I said, this was his concept and his love of science fiction as a parent. He gives a lot of nods to things that he has grown up with, HAL 9000 being the main, 2001
Hmm.
being the main thing that he draws back on. It was heavily influenced by that, Gertie, at least. And he does say that he has been into science fiction since he was a child. He is Man-Made Moon on social media, and he's a great follow. He talks about a lot of philosophical things. He is into space. He talks a lot about technology that's happening now, and he seems like a good dude to me. So I'm really glad that this movie got made. I think it's a testament to him and Sam Rockwell. This was actually written as a vehicle for Sam Rockwell. I think he realized what this movie could be, and that's saying something. He has a vision, it's clear, and everything is deliberate. There's a few directors and writers and creators like that, and I can't help but appreciate what they do. I think this is a great movie. I can't recommend it highly enough. So, you have
Yeah.
anything to add, Jesse?
Yeah, I just, like I said, I missed this one. I really enjoyed it. Was a happy surprise, really well done. I did catch I remember watching Silent Running on my little small black and white
Yeah. Yeah.
TV
Mhm.
set. I
Huey,
was
Dewey,
in,
and Louie.
yeah, yeah. I also like the Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John,
Oh yeah, the
the
Bible
biblical
references.
references.
Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, I just think this was really well done.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so I'm glad I recommended it to you
Yeah,
guys.
me
This has
too.
been a fantastic discussion, and that's part of why I think it was a great choice. Not to pat myself on the back, but I do
No,
think
yeah.
it inspires a lot of philosophical debating and discussion, and also it's just there's a joy in this
Yes.
movie and really good. It's probably been my best pick for a long time, I think. Although,
I do have one more question.
sure.
If you're
I'm sorry, that
alone,
was loud.
no, if you're alone, why is there a ping pong table? I guess because you can make it where you play against
Right,
yourself.
Well,
where you
maybe
play
Gertie
against
can play.
yourself.
Oh yeah, maybe Gertie can. Yeah.
Maybe. I
Okay.
assume it was just set up in a half and you,
The idea was think that maybe one day there'll be more than people. Yeah.
there you go, giving the clones hope that there might be someone else that
Yeah.
comes along.
Or
Um,
yeah, or maybe it's something that's the character liked. Sam
Yeah.
liked.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You notice there was a tambourine by his bed. There's a
Yes.
lot of little
Yeah.
things put in that's, oh, okay, I know more about this guy. And he
Yeah.
likes music. That song had meaning too. I, it's like one is the loneliest number, but it's not that. It did mention being solitary. So the music was also picked deliberately. And I do think that they, you can see things that help him with dexterity, carving the models, using the ping pong table, even the tambourine. They're all things that help with dexterity. And I think that's part of why they were shown in the movie. But I love the ping pong table addition, and it really gives it a chance to show that how they subvert your expectations with Sam crossing over the halfway mark of that ping
Mhm.
pong table. I loved that scene so much. And I loved how the new Sam 2 thinks he's so hot shit and that he can beat the other Sam. And the other Sam is just casually, yeah, I've practiced for a long time. I got this.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
Exactly.
there's some interesting tracks now that you mentioned the music. I'm not going to list them all, but there's a couple of interesting ones. I'm Sam Bell is one track, and then the next
mm,
track is I'm Sam Bell 2, Too.
mm,
And maybe
ah,
the song that you're referring to is Memories, brackets, Someone Will Never Know.
Maybe.
And then there's we're not programs, Gertie, we're people.
So those are like the background
Yeah,
music, the
yeah,
soundtrack.
yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could remember
Cool.
that song. It's a pop song.
And it doesn't
I
mention any. It doesn't list any non. Like the whole soundtrack is composed by Clint Mansell. Everything in
Hmm.
that is done by him. There's no mention of incidental music.
But you remember he danced to a song.
Yeah. Nope,
Oh,
sorry. I don't know which track that would be.
same.
Hmm.
See if I can find it. Shame on the Moon, song about the moon song, walking on the moon. No, that's not it.
I got nothing.
Anyway, yeah, same. But there was a song in there that
Mhm.
Shame on the Moon, maybe. Song
Okay.
about I don't remember.
Shame on the
Sorry.
moon.
Yeah,
That's a good play on words. Yeah.
exactly. But anyway, I'm sorry for that sidetrack. Overall, I'm glad I picked it. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I loved this discussion, and I hope whatever listeners we have also enjoy the discussion. And I urge everyone to go out and see it. I don't care if you're a sci-fi fan or not. You should go out and see it. It's just
Yeah.
a great movie. It's free on Tubi right now.
Yes.
You can also rent it in other places, but it's free.
Yeah. And Tubi is a free service.
Yep. It's not going to cost you anything but a few commercials, unfortunately.
Mm.
But hey, it's free, right?
Yeah.
And again, I just love talking with you guys. And this was a great thing for us to talk about.
Absolutely.
With that, I'm going to ask you, Lou, where can people find you?
You can find us obviously on this YouTube channel at JKL Media Reviews, and where you'll find all our recent one-offs. We do a wide range of topics from movies to TV to music. We're going to come back with a longer running series of reviews when we pick up The Expanse. We have previously completed Babylon 5, and you can find that on my Lose Reviews channel. I'm trying to speak too fast, sorry. And you'll as well there, you'll find my writer interview podcast as well as my Stephen King podcast. And on Twitter and Blue Sky, you can find me at Lou W. Sitzma.
Awesome. How about you, Jesse?
I am at Jesse Jackson DFW on Twitter, aka X, Jesse Jackson on Facebook. You can hear me talking music on Set Listing Bruce, the Bruce Springsteen fan podcast, where I have people from around the world join me to talk about the power and magic of music. Next stop everywhere, I continue to talk Doctor Who with our friend Charles Skaggs, and Perfectly Good podcast where we're going through every John Hyatt song in alphabetical order.
The busiest person in podcasting right now.
And coming up, I just was a guest on Drunk Cinema with Charles Skaggs and Zan Sprouse, where we watched Office Space
Oh,
and
I
talked
love
about
that
it.
movie.
Yes,
It's so great, especially the scene where they beat up the printer.
yes, indeed.
It's so
Yes,
great. Oh, I'm gonna need you to come in on Saturday.
yes.
Okay? Such a great movie. I am Aliveria on almost every social media. I also have a blog, alistuff.com. I actually just posted on there, but it's a romance review. So, that's for a very small subset of people. And you can email us at jklmediareviews@gmail.com. So with that, I'm going to say thanks for joining us. And thankfully, we are three separate people here. And
Yes.
No clones were made during
no,
this.
no clones were used in the making of
Or
this
harmed.
podcast. That's right.
Absolutely. Yes.
So with that, I'll say bye, everyone.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Scene. The proceeding has been a JKL Media production.